welcome back to day 3 of 12 Days of Podmas. Always wanting to say Vlogmas. What I'm learning from 12 Days of Podmas is I freaking love wearing a uniform. Like, it gives me kind of all the feelings that I need in my life. There was actually a time, I just have to tell you this quickly before we jump into the episode, but there was a time in new motherhood where we had just moved into this house. It was probably that winter. So Ro was like 8 months, almost a year old. And I was just in the depth of I can't do anything anymore. I think I was like overwhelmed eventually after our move. Everything was kind of settling in. The life was so different then because obviously COVID was going on and I was like extremely isolated. I was in like the newness of motherhood and just like almost realizing like what is my life going to be, especially after we moved, because it was like I should have been coming to thinking like, oh, I'm going to go back to work at some point or whatever. My life will get back into some rhythm of what it was before. But like, because we moved, I was never going to go back to that job. And so I had like this openness in front of me that was like terrifying. And then I was also trying to like embrace the current moment. Laundry was like the is it vain or bane of my existence? Because I don't know what bane means, so it must be vain. But anyways, laundry was just like the absolute worst thing. I just felt like it was like running my life. It's not even like there was only 3 of us, but somehow I was just like always doing this laundry, and like it was cold and we weren't getting out of the house as much. It was just so overwhelming. And I remember I would wear the same thing. Like I think I did this for 2 weeks and then I had to give up because I was like disgusting and smelled gross. But I would wear the exact same thing. Not even like as in a uniform, like I had multiple of this same outfit. No, I would wear the exact same outfit, obviously different underwear every single day, because then I would only have to wash one pair of sweatpants and one t-shirt at the end of the week. That was what I came to. That's what I tried to do to stop having to do as much laundry. But you know what? The joke was on me because everyone else still had so much clothes that they were wearing and I just smelt gross and was taking care of a baby, breastfeeding, like you're milking all the places. I was just so stinky, but like all I saw was myself, but like I just felt gross, when you just wear the same thing like a few days, okay. But like every single day for 7 days, like too much. But anyways, I just had that memory because I've been wearing the same outfit for all of these episodes. And you know what? I actually kind of love it for this situation. And I'm only sitting in it for an hour while I record. It's not that gross. And like obviously I can wash it at the end of the week. So the stress is not too high. But that just reminded me of that. Anyways, welcome back to day 3. I'm so happy I haven't lost track yet. Uh-oh, my Face ID isn't working. There we go. I am so excited for today's episode. It's a really festive, jolly good time because it is my holiday hosting 101, which also just works in general for hosting. But obviously, because this is Podmas, hello, we are counting down to Christmas. It is a holiday hosting guide, which I think is going to carry you into, obviously, if you're hosting anything up to Christmas, but also New Year's. Last year we hosted New Year's and I absolutely loved it. Fun fact, me and Trevor always host New Year's. It's kind of our thing ever since we like got into our adult life. We would always host New Year's. We would either host like going out, like there was a time where we used to go out in Toronto, which is my least favorite thing to do for New Year's. I will never do it again. You cannot make me do it. I absolutely hate going out for New Year's. It's so horrible, at least in Toronto. It is just so, so horrible. The only time we ever did it right, finally, after years of waiting in line, you always have to wait in line everywhere. Even if you get tickets, you'll have to wait in line unless you get tickets and you go early, like really early, like too early, then you'll have a good time. But then you have to be in the mindset to like be there earlier. But anyways, we used to always host like we do like a pre at my mom's, and then we would head into wherever we were gonna go, and it would be like waiting in line, and like you're with the people you love. But like something about me is if I'm hungry and I'm cold and I'm tired, I'm not in a good place in life. If I'm all 3 of those things, you do not want to be my friend at that moment in time. You really do not want to be. You do not. Okay? And I have that awareness within me. I do. I do. And I apologize for any of the victims who have been in my way when I am hungry, tired, and cold, because it's not a good place to be. And I learned and we stopped doing that. So Anyways, then eventually we moved. Actually, the first year we figured it out. Like when you're young, it's fun. You're like, I want to go out. I want to be at the club. I want to be at the bar. I want to be in the cool scene. I want to wear the cool outfit. Like that's what you want to do. But then when the reality hits that it's not fun, like, then you eventually get, after so many years, it's like, I can't do that anymore. So then we would switch to, this was the year that it all changed, was we were in Oakville where Trevor grew up. And so his parents, we were at his parents' house. But how did this end up? I think it was his parents' house and we had no plans. I think we eventually were like, you know what? This is the year we have no plans. We're hanging out. We're going to do our own thing. And then last minute, we were like texting his friends and they were all like, oh, like maybe we should go to a bar. So we decided to go to a bar. So we went to a bar earlier in the day. Well, not early in the day, but like we were like, maybe we should go to a bar. And then we were like, oh, to Trevor's parents, we were like, hey, maybe like if we go to this bar, but like we just get a few drinks, we can come back here if that's okay. And they're like, oh, yeah, totally. So we were going to have everyone back at Trevor's parents' house. And so we went to this bar, some random bar in Oakville, like literally, I think it was like a O'Malley of some sort. I don't remember the names of them all, but it was like an O'Malley of some sort. And there was no, this was very last minute. Like we were literally planning this so last minute. We probably went at like, I don't know, like 8 or 9. Like, and so there was literally no wait to go in. There was a group of us. Like there was like, we needed a longer table. There was probably like, I don't know, like probably not more than 10, but like 10ish, I think. And so we were able to go in, sit, have some drinks, and then we all headed back to Trevor's parents' house. And we just had so much fun. We literally just chilled and like drank and played games. And I feel like so many inside jokes came out of that night. And Trevor's sister was with us. It was so fun. Maybe both his sisters were, definitely one. Lauren was with us. And we just had such a good time. And we got snacks like chips and whatever, and just like chilled and spend time with the people that you like to spend time with. Like it was so fun. And then I think that like unlocked hosting era for us. That's when we started doing the New Year's holiday host. And we actually would continue it at Trevor's parents' house for years on, until we got married. I think we would do it there and we would invite everybody like from all the different places of our life, people from work, people from our friend groups, people from schools that we went to, like whatever. We would all come together and it was so fun. And then we got married and we started hosting it at our condo, equally so fun. And then we had Roe, and well, I think the year I was pregnant, I don't think we did anything. So I had Roe's a winter baby, so I was very, very pregnant around New Year's, and I feel like I just went to bed. Like I don't think I did anything really. So that was like our year off. And then we were excited to hit it back up the next year, but then it was COVID. And so then we had moved. We were in our new house. I remember me and Trev sat by the fire. I don't even think I stayed up till 12. Me and Trevor sat by the fire, Ro was asleep, and we just reminisced on like our past years, New Year's past. And then last year was our first year where we got to host it again at our house, and it was so fun. Literally, I had the best time. It was so fun. And because now we live out of the city, we had everyone stay over as a sleepover. Like some people were um wanted to go home or like weren't drinking, so they drove home or whatever. Even people who weren't drinking could stay over. Like anyone could stay, but like anyone who was available to stay over, and of course we had extra space just in case. Um, we had a huge sleepover. It was so fun, and then we all had our recap the next morning. It was so like school, like college, like dorm rooms. It was so fun, and I was looking forward to doing that this year, but someone else snagged it from us. Someone else is hosting it. So we'll see. We'll see what we're gonna do because I think they're hosting it in Toronto. And you know, I just preface this by saying my least favorite thing in the whole wide world is going out in Toronto on New Year's. So we'll see. I gotta talk to my sisters. I think Becca's going somewhere. We'll see what Lauren's doing. But yeah, anyways, that is a little bit of my New Year's hosting history, but also I've hosted many things. I love hosting. I think people, from my understanding, do not like hosting. But like if you are like me and you like hosting, that's fabulous. And if you're someone who doesn't like hosting, then hopefully people will host you. But either way, in a predicament, if you are the only person who is available for hosting, I am here to share with you my holiday hosting 101 guide and just in general, because honestly, I feel like I've perfected. I think there's like wiggle room, but like I've perfected the situation. Specifically, we're going to talk about holiday here, but I also might throw in a few other tips because what else are you going to get a hosting guide for me? Okay, so let's hop in. I think there are important things: food, atmosphere, activity. These are my three important things to hosting. Okay, did you hear that? Food, atmosphere, activity. Now, in a holiday hosting environment, usually I feel like it's a larger group of people coming together. So if you are having an intimate get together, like it's going to be you and a couple, or maybe you and a couple, 6 people, then there might be a different rule, mainly to the food part, because I'm saying food for if you're having like a bigger group, let's say 10 plus. This is my food guide for 10 plus. Even honestly, now that I'm saying 6 people, that kind of sounds like a lot, but no, this is for my 10 plus. Okay, so but honestly, you could do this with less than, especially if you don't like cooking. Really, the only thing comes down to the cooking that's going to change different. So for activity, I think this is so important. Now, I personally love an activity. Like one of my favorite memories of growing up in Christmas is that it was one time a year like that people would come together and play a board game. I always got a new cranium for Christmas growing up. Like pretty much I was obsessed with cranium. I had like all of them. I loved it because I feel like one, you got to do acting and singing, you got to do create, you got to do what was it, math and science. I don't remember them all. But anyways, I feel like there was something for everyone. Some of them pushed you out of your comfort zone. You were not very good at them, and other ones you were so good at, but then your other teammate would be good. Like I feel like it balanced out and it was really fair playing ground because like everyone has a different strong suit and there was something for everyone. So yeah, I loved it. Like I loved cranium. And so it was the one time a year where I felt like everyone would come together and we would play my new cranium and it was so fun. I loving it. Um that being said, that's one thing I want to start doing now that Ro's getting a little bit older, is like implementing the family board game, like getting a board game every year because it's so fun. Anyways, so activity, it doesn't have to be a board game, but the purpose is I love to bring people together with an activity. I think a lot of the time during holiday hosting, it's either people, family coming together that haven't maybe seen each other for a whole year, or it's you bringing together a whole group of people who aren't necessarily all BFFs. You know what I mean? Like you bring together people from work, and then they meet your home friends, and then sometimes your family's there, or maybe your old school friends, like, or maybe it's you as a couple coming together, bringing your significant other person's friends and your friends together, and you don't necessarily all get along. There's new people in the mix to other people. And I think that's why I love hosting. I love bringing people together. I think it's so fun. And sometimes it can feel really overwhelming as the host when you know that there's all these different people and you feel like you need to be part of all the conversations to bring people together. Like that can feel overwhelming. But I promise you, step back, relax. Like everyone's an adult. They can all come together and they can find someone to talk to. And if you obviously, as a host, see someone who is feeling left out, invite them to come help you with something, invite them or connect them with somebody, of course. But like I feel like I used to always feel like, oh my gosh, I'm not giving enough people enough attention. But like everyone comes together, they give each other attention. But the number one way to remove that pressure is with an activity. I really think it's important. And if you can bring it together like a little bit earlier in the night, obviously everyone's kind of coming and within the first hour or two. Now I don't even know. I used to be such a punctual person. Like 5 minutes early was like on time for me. But I feel like when it comes to hosting, especially at someone's house, it's always polite to show up either right on time or like within the first half hour. That's kind of my expectation, is that people will be there within the first half hour. But honestly, since I've become a host, I have learned that people show up like 2, 3, 4. I don't, my biggest thing is like, I like if people can tell me they're going to be late, like, oh, I'm working, I'm going to be late, like whatever, then I have no expectation. But sometimes I'm like, oh, should I wait for them? Should I not wait for them? So, yeah, for me, within the first 30 minutes is like the best time to show up. And I get it. Like for myself as well, I like to be closer. But if it's someone I know and I know the people that are going to be there, then I don't mind being on time. But if it's going to be a situation where it'll be a bunch of people that maybe I don't know, then I like to show up a little bit later, like within that first 30 minutes, not later than that. Um, because then I feel less intimidated to have to like talk to one person that I don't know, or it's just like a social thing, a social anxiety thing. But anyways, so within the first hour or two, well, I guess some parties people only host technically for 3 hours. Like this is what I'm considering like if you're going to have a long party, like into the night, like a New Year's party, if you're going to do a dinner into the night, then the first hour or two. But okay, let's say the first hour is for mingling. With at that after that first hour mark, I would bring out an activity. And my favorite activities are catchphrase. Or if you're drinking, you could do one of the passing drinking around games. Those are always so fun. There's so many apps you can download for your phone. And basically, you just input everyone's name and they get people like teamed up with people. It's so fun. And you sit in a big circle and you just pass around this phone and it tells you exactly what you need to do. So let's say me, Grace, and you, Jessica, are playing together or playing in this circle. So it'll be like, Grace tells Jessica whatever, or Jessica's responsible for Grace to this, or Grace, you give Jessica 2 drinks, like whatever. But it'll choose all different names, and it kind of gets people who don't know each other connected. So like if it's a drinking party, like that's so fun. I love catchphrase. I think it's so fun. You can make everyone in their teams, right? You do 1 2 1 2, get them sitting in a circle, 1 2 1 2 1 2. Every other person is on whoever's team. Um, Heads up. Oh my gosh. Wait, did I say catchphrase and I did heads up? Because I meant catchphrase like the circle game. So catchphrase is a game where it's the best. You used to get it with cards. Now it's like a digital thing. I have the digital one now. And basically you input team 1 and team 2 and you break everyone up into 2 teams and you pass this thing around the circle. You're all sitting every other. You pass this thing around the circle, and you can choose a category or you can do mixed category. And it gives you a word, and you have to describe it to your teammates without saying the actual word. And then they all have to try and guess. And it's so fun. Like, literally, that's probably my favorite game, like in the world. And I always bring it out for parties. I think it's a great party game. Heads Up is a classic one. You can download it right on your phone. And it's so funny. Oh my gosh. Last year, New Year's, we were playing Heads Up. And I just remember like it was like at late into the night we were playing Heads Up. So, we were all a little toasty. And I was literally dying. Everyone was doing, oh no, this wasn't even at New Year's. Sorry, I get my heads up blurred together. This was at my friend's birthday party. We were playing New Year's. And everyone was acting out a dolphin, I think, to me. And it was hysterical. I was sitting on the one side of the table and everyone's being a dolphin. And I was literally dying, like watching everyone act as a dolphin for some reason. It was just so funny. It's like all at the same time they all were like I don't even know, but it was so funny. But long story short is that Heads Up really is like a great crowd pleaser. Like I personally use Heads Up in so many different ways. Like I think it's great for parties. When we went to Disney like years ago, we downloaded it for inline. It was amazing for when you're waiting in line and it gets everyone involved. Like you can play, but then everyone else will start participating as well. If you've got like an active group around you, people you don't even know, then you make friends. It's so fun. So yeah, theme parks, like I just love that game. But yeah, so that's a great game. So catchphrase, Heads Up, you can get those drinking games. You can also just play like a classic card drinking game, which is like King's Cup or whatever. Um, but yeah, just doing some sort of activity. You could even get even more classic, doing charades, anything. I just think it's so fun to have an activity. And like the people who want to participate, then you already know like who your vibe is. And the people who don't can just go hang out and enjoy a bev and eat some food or whatever. Like it's not a mandatory, everyone get to the living room now, we're playing a game. But I think it's great to have an option, especially for newbies, so that they can feel more welcome and connect it with other people. It's so fun. So activity is so fun. And then also, if you're having like uh, an like themed party, you could also like with your girlfriends or something. It doesn't have to be all girls, obviously guys can participate as well, but I'm thinking like you could also bring people together and like have like a gingerbread decorating competition or stuff like that. But like I do love like a group activity and it's super low maintenance, you don't have to buy anything for it, so those are fun games. Okay, food I think is one of the most stressful things when it comes to hosting a party. Like I feel like even for myself, like I can get caught up on this, but now I think like I have like a good background of like things that I love to bring or make when I'm hosting. So like Yeah, I just feel like food is one of those things that can become so overwhelming. In my mind, I'm always thinking like, okay, how am I going to have everything prepped and prepared? But then I also want to have my space clean, like especially depending on where you live. But like in my life, the only places I've ever lived have had like the heart of the house is kind of the kitchen. Like in our condo, it was very open concept living room. Like the kitchen is there, everyone's in the living room, you can see the kitchen. Same thing here. Like our living room's a little bit more secluded, but it's still like our kitchen is like like half of our main floor, so it's like a huge part of the entertaining zone. And so how can I keep that not so messy and like food everywhere, like food for eating of course, but like if you're cooking, like it creates mess, dishes, pots, pans. Like it's like I want, for me that's stressful. Like I don't want all of that out and about while people are trying to like mingle and mix. So this is my food rule: nibbles, drinks, and order in. It is literally the best thing ever. Because nibbles you can prep ahead of time. Like make your fruit platter, make your vegetable platter, make your focaccia, make your this is like my new obsession right now is focaccia and meats with a burrata in the middle. Oh my gosh. Make that. We need to add that to our recipe of the day because it's so good. I'm gonna put that down. I'm gonna write that down for one day. Recipe of the day: focaccia. I don't think I had that out yet. And meats. It's just so good. I promise you. Like that is a showstopper. Oh, and the fresh focaccia is so easy to make. Like yes, it's time consuming, but like it's so delicious. And it's like an elevated cheese and crackers. So anyways, but like all those things are easy to make ahead of time. Your charcuterie board or even your cheese and crackers, all of that stuff you can make ahead of time. Any dips, if you're going to make a hot dip, which wink wink might be part of our recipe of today, but like all of that stuff you can pretty much make ahead of time, or it's easy to assemble. You can prep the stuff and assemble it. You can pop it in the oven to heat up before like if it's a hot dip, pop it in the oven to heat up before your guests arrive, or just as your guest arrives, so that you're pulling it out around that mark where most people have come. But most of that stuff, like the mess of it, is taken care ahead of time. So nibbles are my favorite. And also on the note of nibbles, chips, candies, like sweets, chocolates, things like that, I do think are very important. And I think it's important to I personally don't do a dessert after dinner. Like I don't put out a dessert spread after dinner. I mix in the sweets with the savories. I just like to put it all out at the start, or like timed at the start. It doesn't, you might not want to put it all out right away if you know people are coming later. Like I probably usually start with just some bowls of chips and like peanut M&Ms around in different areas of the house where people would probably be sitting or mixing or mingling. And then usually around that half hour mark or 20 minutes in, I'll start putting out like the actual big nibbles. And then that will include some dessert things. I'm just gonna grab my water. That will include some dessert things. And then I always save for the end of the night, after like when it's starting to wind down or we're chilling or people might be having coffee or espresso martinis or whatever. I always like to save a few things in the fridge for that moment, or in the cupboard, but like I'll always have a few things for after dinner nibbles. Okay, so you have your first nibbles out. Another good rule of thumb is don't overbuy chips. I feel like everyone overbuys chips. You really don't need one bag of chips per person, like one giant bag of chips. You only need a few. I feel like for my life, I always went to Costco, and you don't need to go to Costco. Maybe if you're hosting for like 100,000 million people, for sure. Like if you're having a huge blowout, but like I'm talking about like 20 people or under, like you don't need Costco sized everything because that's too much. Like that's for lots and lots of people. I know there's Costco lovers out there, but this is something I've learned through my years of hosting is I always end up with so much leftover, especially party food where it's like I'm really not going to eat it. Or it's going to go bad. It's going to go bad before I get to even eat it. So, or I don't have room to store it. Like, yeah, anyways. So I just get like maybe two different types of chips, like maybe a popcorn. I have a friend who's allergic to potatoes, which has opened my eyes to not buying just potato chips. So maybe a popcorn or a Dorito, and then like a plain classic chip with a dip. Like I would keep it pretty simple. And if someone wants to bring chips, they bring chips, whatever. Okay. Now, drinks. I did this for New Year's and it kind of like changed the game for me in the sense that I didn't feel overwhelmed when I went to the LCBO, which is our liquor store, to like buy things. Um, is I did a drink of the night. So I had our drink, like what do you call it? Like at weddings when they have like a drink. What is that called? A signature drink. That's it. A signature cocktail. So I did a signature cocktail and we did cranberry whiskey sours. They were so freaking good. And so that was something easy that I had all the ingredients for and could make if someone wanted a mixed drink. And of course, we have lots of stuff. Like we have our alcohol cabinet, which has like bits and bobs or whatever, but I didn't feel like I had to be fully stocked up on a full bottle of this, a full bottle of that, a full bottle of this. It was like, that is going to be our cocktail. And then we have wine and some beers. And then if anybody wants anything else, oh, and I always have stuff for espresso martinis. Okay. That's just like I always do because you never know when you want an energy pickup, right? It's just something I do. Okay. But like that was our signature cocktail. And then I felt way less stressed out. And I made a fun shot. I did jello shots, which I thought was so fun. And I think fun shots are fun. Like personally for myself, I do not take hard alcohol shots anymore, like hard liquor shots. No, 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 no. I actually did recently. If you've been listening to the podcast and are not new on the 12 days of Christmas, you heard back in November when I went to my bestie's 30th birthday, and it was the last of our friends of the 30 year, like we're born in 93. And he's like my bestie. Like and he is a tequila man, like loves tequila. And I used to love tequila like too. And then I had really bad tequila one time at my other friend's 30th birthday years ago. He's older than us. And it was so horrible. It actually like scarred me. I have not had like I can have a mixed drink with tequila. I love margaritas. I love it like that. But like I cannot just have a shot of tequila. No, 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 no. And I haven't successfully for years. Like years. 6, 7, lots of years. Okay. And so I went to his birthday being like, I'm not going to drink shots tequila. I even went to his fiance's birthday, Navina, my bestie. You know Navina. There's an episode of us called Multicultural Couples. But anyways, I went to her birthday and which was like the same place with the same people and him, which he's always like, everyone, tequila. And I successfully said no because you know what? That's not Navina's thing. But then this one, I don't know what came into me. Probably the bottle of Prosecco I had as a pre. We had just come back from Italy, and in Italy, me and Trevor, any night that we were going to go out for like our pretty much like our last night at each city, we would like have, I don't know why we did this as our last night of each city, because then we'd have to wake up the next day and like trek to a new place hungover. But we would share a bottle of Prosecco while getting ready for dinner and having a slow afternoon or whatever. Um, yeah. And so I brought that for us to do that. But Trevor was so exhausted because he had come home from a business trip. And so he just wanted to sleep until we had to leave. He was like, I can't drink. Like, I'm so tired. I was like, that's fair, whatever. And then we can drive. We don't have to Uber, save money. Woohoo. But I was like, I only brought a Prosecco. And so we were at Trevor's parents. Um, we were going to stay there for the night because it was closer to where they were, and we weren't sure if we were Ubering or not or whatever. And also I had to pick up Trevor from the airport. Like he literally just got home and they live closer to the airport anyway. So I was like, well, I'm still going to have my Prosecco because it's good vibes. And I'm like totally in a sparkling wine mood. Like I love Prosecco. Like I literally think that's going to be like my 30s drink. Maybe not, but like I do truly feel that within me. Like Prosecco is my vibe right now. And so I popped the bottle thinking like, oh, I'd have a couple glasses. And like Trevor's dad did come home from work and start helping me out. But I probably had a lot of it. Anyways, I was feeling good. I was feeling fine. But I walked into the party and I think right away it was like, okay, shots of tequila. And like they were tiny shots, like the little itty bitty glasses. But still, I would not do that. Like I would even just mix it with juice. Like I'm lame. I will do that. Like if I'm at a party and they're giving out shooters, like I will grab a chase and like properly mix it and like not take it because it'll just ruin it for me. But for some reason, this one did not ruin it until the next day, of course. But anyways, I took it. I was like, okay, fine. At first I was like, no, no, no. And they were like, come on. I was like, okay, fine. For Akbar's birthday. And I took it and I took the lime and I was like, I can't believe I just did that. And then like literally, I don't even want to tell you how many times I did that after that, / I don't remember. But I was like, wow, only for you, Akbar. The next morning, that's literally what I messaged in the group chat. Everyone's like, how's everyone feeling? I'm like, literally, only for you, I would do that. And only for your 30th. They are getting married later this year, but not for their wedding, only for specifically for him for his 30th. Mm. Anyways, it was a good time. But back to the story or back to the drink. So yes, I would choose a signature drink. I think that is so good. And it just like makes it really easy for you. You don't even have to do that if you don't want to. That's more catering if you know that the people you're inviting are going to want a cocktail instead of beer or wine. And if you know that they're not going to drink wine or beer, don't get any of those things either. Honestly, like most of the time we barely buy beer because most of our friends are cocktail people or wine. And people will always bring wine, like always bring wine. So like don't even go that hard on the wine. Um, but anyways, so that was a big thing for me. It's just like be the one cocktail is such a good thing, like a signature drink. I think that's a pro move. Um, and then obviously you don't have to be drinking alcohol. You can also we did our Jello shots, which were so fun. I thought that was such a fun and simple shot to make, and you can prep it ahead of time and like you literally just pass them out. So that is the best thing ever. Another fun shot that I'll make is a sour no what is it called, a Swedish berry, which is sourpuss and creme de banane. I think everyone loves it. It's delicious. You can also make a cocktail using Sprite with it if someone really just loves like a fruity fun drink. um but we also made because we knew that there are people, we have friends who don't drink, and we also have friends who are going to be DDs or whatever, so we also did um just like Jello shots, like just Jello, but in a shot glass with nothing else in it. And then it's like they still get to partake and have fun. We also always have some sober beers, depending on what the brand's called. Like I have one called Sober Carpenter that I like, and uh Farm Boy is actually such a great place. They have a whole sober bottle shop like area where you can get all the different non-alcoholic stuff. So, yeah, we always get some fun things like that. And you can actually make such fun if you're it's a total not drinking party, you can make such fun non-alcoholic drinks now, like mocktails that actually taste good. Like you can make like a whiskey sour that's not a whiskey sour, like a whatever. Like they sell so many fun bitters and stuff, and find a sober bottle shop near you. Like we have a really good specialty one um, that's included in Bushel and Peck, which is now run out of Delaware if you're local to me. And they sell so many different bitters and also just like uh, gins and like that are non-alcoholic and proseccos and stuff like that. Like there's really good stuff now. So yeah, just have fun with it. Make fun different things. And obviously if you just like drinking pop, then just buy pop. Or if you like drinking just water, then just drink water. But like, yeah. So nibbles, easy. Make them ahead and have 2 rounds of nibbles. You have your starter nibbles and then you have your end of the night nibbles, okay? So end of the night nibbles are more like cheese, and I always like to do a cheese plate, and I like to do our friends actually do this. They bring it everywhere, a spinach dip. They buy the spinach dip and the big round pumpernickel, and then you just like cut it up and you dip it. Like that is what they always bring. And so I always put it out as an end of the night nibble. I think it's a great end of the night nibble. It's a great beginning of the night nibble too, but it's also easy to throw together if you're inebriated at the end of the night. And so, yeah, so I like to do like a dip and a bread vegetable situation, and then a cheesy one, and then some sort of sweet as well, which is great. You could do the Hello Dollies. That's a great one to put out. Or even a sweets tray with like all the different sweets that we're going to do for recipe of the day for our 12 days of Podmas. And then order in, literally do this. It's the best thing you could possibly do. Like don't stress yourself with cooking if you're hosting, especially if it's 6 people or less, like that's easy enough. You can make a simple meal, or like any meal will be a simple-ish meal to cook for 6 people because that's just like a family meal, right? But like more than that, like unless you're having like a proper literal no, even I would not. Just don't do it. I would not do it. Order in. Last year for New Year's, we did Greek food. It was amazing. Everyone loved it, especially in the wintertime. Like if you live in a place where you have a climate where you can do barbecues or for your holidays, sure, barbecues are easy. Throw on the hot dogs, throw on the burgers, whatever. Like that's easy. And food you can prep ahead of time. The mess stays outside of the house. Like, sure. But I'm talking cold winter climate here, like where I'm from. And so, yeah, we did Greek food. I feel like Greek food is great. Most people love it. There's options. Like if you don't eat gluten, then you can just stick to the meat and sauce and veg. If you don't eat dairy, like I feel like there's options for the people who don't eat things. And then if you don't like pickles, not pickles, olives, you can pick the olives out. Like I think Greek food's great. I think there's something for everyone. I personally love it. Another great one is Chinese takeout. Like literally Chinese takeout is so classic. It's so delicious. People love it for a reason. You can always order everything. You can choose your menu ahead of time. Like for the Greek food, we ordered it ahead of time. I think if you're doing New Year's specifically, you probably have to order it ahead of time. But if it's like on a random weekend or weeknight, like I think you have more flexibility in that. Chinese food, you can even ask ahead of time if people have any requests, or just make sure you order, like, turbo shrimp. Come on, that's the best part. But like a noodle, a rice dish, two proteins, like whatever, a vegetable, like, and also Indian food. Like I feel like Indian food is so good. There's something for everyone. As long as you get something that's not spicy, but maybe I don't know. You know your crowd better than I do. But yeah, and I just think that that's a great one, an easy one for like a mass quantity. But there's so much. Oh, one Christmas, I think it was the Christmas after my dad passed away. Someone from my mom's work, I think, had sent us Christmas dinner, which was so sweet. But it was so memorable because we had the most delicious Jamaican food, which we literally would have never had for Christmas ever, because that's just not how I was raised. I love Jamaican food, FYI, and it was so fun, and it's like one of those things that I will forever remember, and it's like that's also a great one to get in. um and I feel like Jamaican food is a good one for everyone, because everyone, at least even if they're sensitive to spice, you could just get chill. The big thing of festival, like who doesn't love festival? And I mean, personally, I love the oxtail, delicious, but like you can just get fried chicken too, like delicious. So ooh, and jerk pork. I personally love jerk pork because it doesn't have bones. But one time in Jamaica, we had the most amazing jerk chicken at this random side stand on the side of the road, and I still dream about it, like literally. And I have no, someone took us there, so I don't even know what it's called or where exactly it was, but I want it so bad. It was so good. Anyways, delicious, delicious, delicious. So many delicious options. So order in. Honestly, just save yourself the stress and order in. Promise you it's worth it. So yeah, for food, nibbles, drinks, order in, more nibbles at the end. Sandwich it all together. Foods make people happy. Okay, let me grab a drink. I feel like I've been talking forever. I'm very passionate about hosting. Mm, delicious. And now that we've actually gotten into this, I realize this really is about holiday hosting. I feel like I do have notes on like summer hosting, because we did talk about barbecuing and being outside. It's different for me for holiday hosting. I don't live in a warm climate. Okay, atmosphere. This is an easy one. You start by what time of day are you hosting your event? That really starts off what the atmosphere is going to be. But usually, holiday hosting, I feel like, is like you want it to be cozy vibes, right? Like, I feel like most of the time that's what it is for me personally. So, even if it's going to be like a brunch, I still want cozy brunch vibes, cozy Christmas brunch vibes. And if it's going to be um, an evening thing, definitely cozy vibes for sure. Do not put your overhead lights on. Dim the lights. Lamps are BFFs. I feel like we know this already. I live in an old house. We don't have overhead lighting. The only places we have like pot lights, the only places we have pot lights is our kitchen, because it's like newer added onto the house, or newer renovated. We didn't renovate it, but whoever lived here did. But like literally our living room, we had two lamps in there, and I finally put in two more lamps on the other side of the room, and now it feels very, very cozy and less like dim and dark. But like turn off the overhead lights, turn off the pot lights, put on the lamps. If you have a dimmer switch, dim it up. You really want to set the mood, okay? Set the mood. I'm always very hesitant to light candles, especially for parties. Sorry. I'm always very hesitant to light candles for parties, because I will forget to blow them out if it's a party situation most of the time, especially if people are like sleeping over. Like, so that's for you. And also, I'm nervous. Like, what if someone puts their bag down somewhere? Or what if someone like doesn't know what's there and they knock into it? Like, I'm always just like a little hesitant about candles. So it's up to you, but definitely dim the lights. If you got the Christmas tree up, Christmas tree brings in the light. Like, there's so much good stuff about that. But yeah, just lower, lower, lower. And then when people get there, if they need a little louder, you can turn it up a bit, but like low. mood music, not necessarily mood music, but set the mood with some music. I love Spotify. Like, I'm a Spotify convert. I love Spotify so much. And so, like, Spotify will give you, now they have so many amazing things. Like, I love DJ X. Oh my gosh, so much so that Ro will get in the car and be like, Mom, put on X. I love when X chooses this music. I'm like, yes, queen, okay. As long as I don't have to listen to kids music. I don't mind kids music sometimes, but sometimes I just want to be in this car and vibe out, you know what I mean? And Ro just wants to listen. Actually, right now she's very much into Veggie Tales. Knows every word of Silly Songs with Larry's, like loves it. Sabu sabu sabu. Sorry, I have everything stuck in my head from that. But anyways, set the mood. So you can either curate your own playlist, or you can start off, if you use Spotify, I love to start off with a couple songs that are like kind of the vibe and then put it on like Shuffle AI or whatever it is. It's not called Shuffle AI. Maybe it's Recommend It. And it'll just like it'll take those songs that you chose and it'll like go from there and create things. Also, I just realized Spotify within the past like month or so, I personally realized this, I don't know when they started doing it, is they have like a made for you. And I know they always do like your Discover Weekly and whatever, but now they have playlists that are specifically curated for you, like that are like called, I don't even know, happy playlist or energy or um indie. Like they have things that I would have thought are like general, but it's made specifically for you. And literally everything is always a banger. I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this song. I love this song. I love this song. I love this song. Like they get it pretty much most of the time for me. So that's a really great thing to do. And then you don't have to stress. Like it shuffles through. If all of a sudden you hear something weird, you just go and you like change it. I have the funniest story. I totally don't think I told you guys this. Oh my gosh. So last year for our New Year's party, I keep using our New Year's party because that's the last holiday thing I hosted. um Last year I had my Spotify on, and then also if other people have Spotify, they can somehow link up together. I'm not sure how it works, but they can somehow link in and like send so we use Google in our house, like we have Google Homes on our main floor, and so you can cast your music to the main floor. And then people were able to add to the queue somehow through Spotify. I don't know, Trevor did it, but like I'm pretty sure it's not that hard to figure it out. But people could like go on their phone and be like, oh, add this to queue. And so there were all these things queued up like all night long, so everyone was able to add their own music in, everyone was getting their own vibe. It was so fun. So then the next day of New Year's Day, I was taking a bath and I was like, oh, I just really need like a restorative bath right now. And so my favorite way to take a winter's bath is crack the window a bit, make a really, really hot, bubbly bath with salts in it. I like had the speaker already. I was going to play like this really calming, like restorative music. And so I like put on my playlist, but I think it was like a Spotify generated playlist. So I didn't know what to expect, aka like I didn't know what specific songs were going to be on it. But like I looked over it quickly and I was like, yeah, I think this is the vibe. So I play it. The first song comes on. It's like all zen, super restorative. I'm taking this lovely bath. It's so nice. And then all of a sudden it's like a more upbeat song and I'm like, okay, whatever. And I'm like going through and I'm like, okay, maybe this isn't the playlist I want. Like I'm probably sitting in this bath for at least 10 minutes being like, I feel like this isn't the playlist that I want, but I'm already in the bath, like I have to get out, whatever. Like it'll eventually turn into something lovely. And Trevor comes in, he's like, why are you literally listening to like literal bangers dubstep in the bath, like taking a restorative bath right now? And I was like, I honestly don't know. Like this isn't the playlist I thought. Could you change it? And he picks it up and he's like, Grace, it's all the queued up music from last night. So like because I had clicked play this playlist, it played the first song, but then it started going in order of the queue. Oh my gosh, I probably spent 15 minutes in this bath listening to like all of the party music queued up from the night before. Like, oh my golly, just thinking like, okay, it's gonna catch the vibe soon. But anyways, so you've got to set the atmosphere. So low light, fun music or whatever your vibe is. So jazz music, what Christmas music, whatever, to whatever your vibe is. Set it with the music and don't make the music too loud. Like I always start with the music like a little too quiet, and then as I hear the people, as the rooms fill and the people continue to file in, then I will like adjust the music accordingly. And then sometimes it ends up in a dance party, right? Like I feel like all good parties have a dance element at some point, and sometimes that even means just going like downstairs or to wherever, another space in the house that isn't part of the party necessarily, like you'll end up in the basement and everyone will just be like, those are where the dancing people are. And it's fun. It's a good time. So, anyways, and then also just like making sure that for me personally, I open a window. Like I'll open a few windows. It always gets hotter than possible. Like we have a wood burning fireplace, which I love, but it's really not practical for using when you are hosting a party because it gets really hot unless you're prepared to open a window, which for me, sometimes it's worth it. Like it is so cozy, especially at the beginning and when you're winding down at the end to have the fire going. But it is way too hot if you have people there. So we'll like crack windows, be prepared, be on standby, feel the temperature at all times. Yeah, and also people can go outside if they want to catch a break too. But like be aware of the warmth or the coolness of the space. Honestly, I feel like you can't ever have it too cold unless you're outside in the elements. Um, but yeah, I'm trying to think of other things. Like honestly, I don't ever spend time or energy really on decor. Like I'm not that cutie. Um, I think there's a time and place for that, but personally, like it's not part of the stress. Like I rather spend my money on getting order taken food than buying decorations. And I also feel so wasteful when I buy decorations that are like one time. Or will I really ever use them? Like we do have a few things. We have like a birthday sign we put up every year for Trevor's birthday, and we have a birthday sign we put up every year for any birthday we host. And I think we do have a New Year's sign, and we do have some blowers that like are left over. We always get a few, like I do buy a few if it's a New Year's party. I will buy a few like beads or hats, like the little headbands or blowers, just because it's fun and interactive and like part of the ringing in the new year. But like I really don't buy anything else than that. Like I won't buy specific napkins or plates or any decorations. um it's just not my vibe, and it can totally be your vibe, but it's not mine. That's one thing I like check off my list, like no stress. I rather set the table cute with like my standard cuteness, and just like, just be like chill. That's how I am. That's how I am personally. That makes me less stressed. Oh sorry, I forgot that I opened this tag up. Okay. And I'm trying to think of other ways that I set the atmosphere, but really, I just like to keep it easy and clean. Like, I just clean the, usually I'll clean, okay, I used to always clean, like, rush clean the day of. And that was so stressful because it was like, I felt like, oh, if I clean before, it's just going to get dirty. Might as well just do it the day of. I don't do that anymore. I clean a little bit every day. And it's so much easier. And then the day of, you're really just picking up and like wiping down the counters and like doing a quick vacuum. Like it's no stress. Like not a full on like uh actual clean where I'm putting everything away. So I kind of do a little bit every day leading up to the event, like for maybe a few days. And then the actual day of, it's like not stressful. And if I'm having people stay over, then I just change the sheets and I already have them washed and everything. Like then I can spend more time on like getting ready if that's what I want to spend time on. And then it's like not worried if people show up early, because every so often one person will show up early. So I always like to be prepared. Like I like to be ready a half an hour before the event's going to start, like me fully dressed ready, because there's nothing worse than coming in and you're still getting dressed. Okay, so I think that's it. We hit up food, we hit up atmosphere, we hit up activity. Oh, activity is the best part, and food and atmosphere. And also just like bringing people together. I love it. I love bringing people together. It's one of my greatest joys, like being with the people you love the most and bringing them together with other people. I think it's so fun. So let's get into our recipe of the day. Okay, I need to take a sip. Da 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 da! Drum roll, please. I'm drum rolling with my hands. Recipe of the day. This is a classic for my mother-in-law. I never had it until I started dating Trevor, and I think it was one of the first things I had at one of his holiday things. Is artichoke dip. Like I had artichoke dip before, like that you get at the store and you dip your crackers in and whatever. That's cold. Like I have had that before and I love it. But oh my gosh, this is 10,000 times better, and it's a hot artichoke dip and it's so good and it's so easy to make and it's so good. Okay, cuties, it's so good. It is. If you are going to host something or go to somebody's house, bring the artichoke dick the artichoke dip. Bring it. Or honestly just make it for you and yourself to watch a movie one night. It's so good, and I love to have it with the she always serves it with Triscuits, but my favorite like, Triscuits are such a tough cracker, right? Like, but something about them, like, they last, they're good, we like them, they come around again, but a thin Triscuit, the triangle ones, the thin ones, perfection, love them. Like, if I'm gonna have a plain Triscuit, like a traditional thickness of Triscuit, it's got to be one of the flavored ones. Like, I can't go back to the regular just like sea salt ones unless it's a thin one. They're so freaking good and it's my favorite. So go check out Instagram, TikTok at 5 Years Time Podcast. I'm going to share the restaurant recipe for this artichoke dip. It's a warm artichoke dip. Why can't I talk? It's a warm artichoke dip. It is unbelievably delicious. I feel like it's a crowd pleaser. Everyone will love it. It is so easy to make, and then you can definitely pull it together super quickly. So that is a holiday favorite. Thank you so much for coming back for day 3 of Podmas, talking all about holiday hosting 101. I hope you learned something and maybe a little bit too much about me and tequila, but I love you all so much. You mean the world to me. And I can't wait to come back tomorrow for day 4. How fun is this? Uploading on a Friday? How strange. Love, love, love you. Wishing you all a beautiful rest of your day and see you back Saturday morning. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Love you, cutes.